chicken is often served to us in many flavor-packed and tempting forms, including the pan-fried, oven-baked, grilled, roasted, and smoked chicken. But did you know that the delicious chicken you routinely treat yourself to may be laced with antiretroviral drugs? A new study conducted among farm chicken in Wakiso district reveals that a large proportion of chicken breasts and thighs contain significant traces of efavirenz, a first-line HIV drug that reduces the amount of virus in the body.
One of the key drivers of our work, why we went to assess the presence of ARVs in farm chicken, was that there are media reports about misuse of ARVs in farm animals. We had not got any scientific data confirming this misuse, and that drove us to doing this work, to generate data that people can rely on for future works, because there was none at the time of the study.
Although the practice of misusing ART medicines to promote animal growth and control diseases is an active landmine, there is meager scientific evidence on the magnitude of the problem. As the study's principal investigator, Dr. Oria set out to determine the content of ARVs in chicken tissue and feeds collected from different farms in Wakiso.
We did both qualitative and quantitative bits, so we used mixed methods. And for the qualitative part, we had key informant interviews. So we interviewed farmers and chicken feed providers. We're interested in asking the perceptions of these farmers on the use of these medicines and how they access them and why they actually use them. So our quantitative bit was to quantify how much ARVs are in chicken tissue, but also in the chicken feeds.
Of course, we went through different steps, including weighing the sample, mixing the sample, vortexing the sample, until we got a sample that we could inject into the machine. The machine is called high-performance liquid chromatography. So during the analysis, we already have the efavirenz standard, which we know that has concentration. That concentration, how we know it comes in form of a graph, a curve. So you get a sample run versus that concentration. If a sample does not have a curve at that point of the efavirenz powder, then you consider that sample to be negative. It does not have any efavirenz concentrations. However, to our surprise, there are samples that actually had curves, small curves, but also curves that were huge. So those curves, when you plot them out, they correlate into concentrations. So based on that, we were able to present data to him and say, in this batch of samples, some are negative, but there are also those that have concentrations of efavirenz.
Ignorantly, farmers in the district claim that ARVs are given to chicken in a bid to increase their yields and size. Broilers that would otherwise take 12 months to fully grow for market sale take 4 months or even less.
The chicken, ARV present chicken were about 13.3%. And then the presence of ARVs in the chicken feeds was about 3.3%. So there was more of ARVs in the chicken tissue than in the chicken feeds.
As one of the major sources of animal protein in Uganda, Oria fears that consuming ART-encumbered chicken has a volley of negative repercussions for public health and HIV and AIDS care in Uganda.
The fact that we were able to detect ARVs in farm chicken shows that actually there's a misuse of ARVs in the farm chicken. So what this means is that we're exposing our people to very low amounts of ARVs as they eat the chicken. If a virus is exposed to low amounts of these drugs, then there's a possibility of developing resistance. So at the time when we want to use the ARVs as a first-line treatment of people who develop eventually HIV/AIDS, it may not work because the virus might have developed resistance.
With growing evidence of ARV residues in Uganda's poultry, Dr. Oria's study lists two major recommendations to curb the mischievous practice. These are educating farmers on the dangers of using ARVs in farm animals and government instituting an online system to monitor use of ART medicines to control diversion and misuse of these drugs.
We must sensitize them on the appropriate use of medicines. The medicines are used in farming to treat poultry and other farm animals.